welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd with your host Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey there.
Right, so we are doing a Daisy, and the last one was Arachnophobia, which was your choice, based on Julian Sands being on Warlock. And for this one, I've picked a John Goodman movie. And this one, I've picked one from 1987, going quite old, right? What's it? Nearly 40 years old, 35 years old.
Yeah.
Raising Arizona, also one of Nicolas Cage's first films, too, or one of his very early ones. Raising Arizona by the Coen brothers, who've got quite an interesting filmography. First watch for you, right?
Yeah, first time watching for me.
Yeah, what did you think?
This is a very strange film.
Yeah, it is. It's. I remember it being quite strange, but not quite this strange. But I really quite enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it or not? Was it?
I enjoyed it. It was just very strange. It was kind of hard to follow what was real and what wasn't at several points.
Yeah, because there was
there was a lot of dream sequence stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I thought, the Hell Rider that's coming for them. That's a dream. Nope. Started interacting with other characters and came after them. Okay.
So he kind of foresaw that man coming, right?
Yeah.
Leonard Smalls.
Which is why I thought it was a dream, and then it was like, oh nope, this is real.
Yeah.
And then
I got a feeling the name Leonard Smalls is in other films as well, because it sounds like a familiar name. You know, I think I've heard that character name somewhere else, and I think they may have borrowed it. The Ethan, I keep calling them the Ethan brothers. The Coen brothers are kind of fans of certain films, and they do reference them. They're big fans of, for example, Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange. And there's often a little reference to Clockwork Orange in some of their films. I think, for example, Fargo has references to it. But, it was...
Spot any in this? But, yeah.
Say again?
Didn't spot any of that in this?
No, I don't think there was any in this. This was their second film. Their first film was Blood Simple, which I've never seen, but I do remember quite distinctly it having rave reviews and people really liking it when it came out. And that's more a much more serious kind of thriller. It's kind of a noirish thriller kind of. I keep meaning to watch it, and I just haven't got around to it. And funny enough, the old guy in the prison not in the prison, in the workplace, who keeps rambling on, played. What's the actor's name? He was in Blade Runner. He was the one who was trying to get Deckard to come back again. What's his name? It's going to really annoy me. I can't think what his name is. I'll have a look in it when you start talking. Okay. But he's the main character in Blood Simple, but he was like a side character in this. So Raising Arizona, it's really Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter are the main leads, right? But we also have William Forsythe and John Goodman as these pair of brothers that were in jail with Nicolas Cage's character. High is his name, right?
So it's Herbert I. McDonough. Back into High.
Yeah.
There's John Goodman as Gale and William Forsythe as Evel.
Yeah. Evel. It's a real weird name, isn't it? And Holly Hunter is Ed. Or Edwina.
It's Edwina, Ed. So
yeah, there's a few other quite distinct characters. It's got a very sort of southern feel, hasn't it, this film?
Well, because everyone's got a really thick accent. So
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And I quite like the music. You know, there's a point, they're basically doing a bluegrass version of Ode to Joy at the beginning, Beethoven's Ode to Joy, which is kind of funny to hear in a film like this. And also, we have to mention Randall, also called Tex Cobb, as Leonard Smalls, the biker from hell, who looked like something out of a Mad Max movie, but spoke in a really gentle voice. He is a Mad Max character.
Just in like most scenes.
Yeah, and it's that shot where he's just driving through the desert, killing everything.
It's quite chucking amazing. Grenades at rabbits.
Yeah. So let's just talk about their filmography. We can talk about what we've seen and what we haven't. Right, Miller's Crossing I've seen, and Barton Fink I've seen. Have you seen either of those?
No, this is a case of I thought I'd seen nothing, but it turns out I didn't know Big Lebowski was theirs.
Yeah,
and I've seen No Brother, Wherefore Art Thou.
Okay.
And bits of True Grit.
And you can kind of see the connection, right? They both got a similar vibe to this. I mean, Raising Arizona is probably the most way out there of this kind of vibe.
Yeah, of the ones I've seen, it's the weirdest.
Yeah, I mean, other notable ones more recently are probably No Country for Old Men and True Grit, right? There's
Yeah.
others, but those are kind of. But I think probably The Big Lebowski's their greatest film, you know, in terms of cultural impact. But I just enjoy it the most.
Yeah.
Though I quite enjoy Raising Arizona. Miller's Crossing is an odd one. It's a gangster film.
Okay.
And Barton Fink is a paranoia film. He's a writer in Hollywood just being told to do this and that by the studio and just in his own little private hell of trying to satisfy so many people all at once. It's one of those kind of films. It's quite an interesting film though, Barton Fink. I quite like it. But however, Raising Arizona. We also get Frances McDormand in this as well, which is quite interesting. I mean, she was Fargo. She's the lead in Fargo, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm not seen Fargo.
Fargo's another really good one, a really interesting one to see sometime. There's, I think there's always something interesting in Coen Brothers films, you know? And I'm sure they haven't got it listed here, but I'm sure they did. Let me just check this. I'm sure they did like a crossover film with Sam Raimi called Crime Wave.
I can kind of see like Sam
film.
Raimi elements in this, actually.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of like the Evil Dead camera swoop sort of thing.
Yeah.
It just sort of like zooms across terrain and like into someone's mouth.
Right. Crime Wave, I've just looked at Crime Wave is an American comedy film directed by Sam Raimi from a screenplay by the Coen brothers, right? I'll tell you one of the characters in it. There's these two really weird exterminators, like, you know, rat catchers. Like one's a bit ratty and one's a big fella, but it's the guy that plays Baron Harkonnen. Beast Raban in the David Lynch Dune film is one of them. Okay. Paul L. Smith, that is. He's been in other stuff, obviously, and that one's kind of fun, really dark comedy. It's got a touch of the Hitchcock about it and things like that. And it's got some really weird visual flourishes, which is straight out of Raimi, right? So there's another interesting one. It's not mentioned in the filmography, but they wrote it, right? So that's worth knowing about. They also relieved. They won Oscars. You know, they won 2 Oscars for Fargo and 4 Oscars for No Country for Old Men, which is quite amazing. And pretty much all their films have got nominations. So they're quite well regarded.
Yeah.
And they are kind of part of that late 80s quirkiness, but I think they do it well rather than some are just annoying. But I think they did it well. But anyway, So, kind of liked it, but it was a bit weird.
Yeah, it was a very strange film because, like I say, I could barely tell what's like real in the film and what's not. And several points they like kind of go out of their way to just mess with that. Like I say, the biker shows up first time in a dream, and then he rocks up in a weird way too, like an active crime scene. It kind of gives the impression it's like this isn't real. Oh, it very much is. Okay, he's actually like just sort of silently walking through this crime scene. Yeah,
there's also some odd connections throughout the film that you think are going to resolve one way and they never do.
Nope.
And I can't explain that.
The biker has the same tattoo as Hyde.
Yeah. So are they brothers or something? But they're not. They're not brothers, right?
Is it like him? Is it like a metaphor for his like doubts or something? I don't know. Yeah, it never gets brought up. So.
It's got a Raimi vibe and a slight Lynchian vibe as well. Right?
Yeah.
I also found it really interesting the sort of energy that Nick Cage brings to this because it's kind of low energy for Nick Cage.
Yeah,
but it's still high energy.
Very Cage.
yeah, it's weird. I really like the courtship at the beginning.
that whole bit is really sweet. Like
one
just
thing
them
about the film
going
is...
through like the prison cycle quite a few times, and then eventually getting out and sort of going straight. That was really sweet.
And we keep seeing his parole board where he's telling them, no, I'm definitely going straight. And then the next time, then he goes, I tried to go straight, but that some bitch Reagan made it impossible to get a job. But that people say he's a good fella, but I don't know, and all this kind of stuff. And meanwhile, Ed is, the one taking the photographs, and
they just kind of like bantering with each other. It's like, so how's the life, Ed? She's like, I broke up with my boyfriend. It's like, he doesn't know what's good for him. So
she's crying. Well, she's crying, saying, my fiance. broke up with me. And he goes, well, you can tell her from High Madonna that man's a damn fool and all this. And in the end, one of the inkings of his fingerprints, he slips an engagement ring on her.
Yeah, which is smooth.
Yes, very. But he does get a job. They basically live in
he gets a job at like
mobile home, aren't they?
It's like a drill factory, basically.
They're just drilling holes, and all these blokes are got bad.
I thought it was gonna like lead to him drilling the guy who's just keeps telling stories hand.
Yeah.
He kept like putting his hand out to just in sort of suggestion, and I thought the culmination of that was going to be he was just going to grab it, drill it, and walk off. Because it's Nick Cage. That's kind of what you expect.
Yeah, indeed. It's that was I think the actor's name's Emmett Walshaw. There's an initial there somewhere, and I can't remember what it is. And I think he was in Blood. I think he was the lead in Blood Simple. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, I'm looking at a picture of him. It's definitely him. But weirdly, he's not listed in the credits, which is Emmett Walsh. Yes. And like I say, he was the man that tried to get Deckard back in Blade Runner 2, so he was in that. He's been in a few other things. I actually really like him. He's in this really cheesy B action movie with Dolph Lundgren called Red Scorpion, and he's the mouthy American in that, and he's really fun, and he's cussing out everyone, and he's in Africa, and they're cussing out everyone, and Dolph Lundgren's like a Russian special forces guy that gets let down by the Russians and turns rogue. It's kind of a fun film. It's actually a really good film. I really enjoy it. Yeah. But I do remember Emmett Walsh being quite good in that too. So they're trying to go straight. They're trying to go straight.
Yeah, they're going straight, but
they want a family.
Ed
in particular wants kids.
Yeah, Ed really wants kids. Good God, I don't think a film woman has ever wanted children more than this person.
She just breaks down and cries.
Yeah, anytime there's like any sort of like hindrance or anything. Admittedly, like there's some pretty brutal hindrances to her getting kids. But like the minute the premise is they steal a kid, basically. The minute they have this kid, anything that like would like interfere with that, she immediately goes gun-toting against them.
Yeah. I really like Holly. I thought Holly Hunter gave a great performance in this, actually. She was funny. And I've seen her in serious things. I think we've seen her most recently, films we've watched, probably Batman vs. Superman. She's the senator.
Yeah, it's the senator that drank the peach tea.
Yeah, she's pretty good in it. I mean, it's not a great film, but she's good. And
she's also Elastigirl. It's probably what people.
She does the voice. So. Good point. But she's really good. I really like how Nicolas Cage expresses how she just comes over and she says, "I'm barren," and he goes, "But you don't look barren." And then he says something like, "We went to the docks and we found her rocky insides.
Yeah, her insides.
My seed could get no purchase.
Take purchase."
And meanwhile, she's crying away, but the doctor's grinning like an idiot, explaining things.
Just like kind of really creepily leering over the table.
And like Cage just looks perplexed and doesn't know what to do. And he's like that for the most of the film.
Yeah, because he's kind of like, I guess we'll steal the kids. I guess we'll do this. Yeah, I guess we'll put up my friends from prison. I guess. Yeah,
it's very easy going.
A lot of stuff happens.
And he does break into the house to steal one of these. Basically, a family has five babies.
Kind of weird comedy sequence out of place for like stealing a child. It gets a bit Baby's Day Out or like Home Alone. It gets a bit
Home Alone, and he's making a lot of noise trying to wrangle these kids.
Yeah.
And the parents are downstairs looking up, but in the end he goes back and says, "I just couldn't take one of them." And Ed just locks the door. You go get me one of them babies right now. They got more than enough and all this. So he does.
Yeah. They're stuck with the baby.
Yeah, and we have a hell of a scene after this where we see the brothers. What are they? Snopes.
They kind of
Snopes brothers.
Shawshank.
Yeah, Shawshank.
Yeah, they
erupts from the mud.
Through. Yeah, he just kind of bursts out of the ground.
This was made
again,
before
probably
Shawshank,
symbolic.
by the way.
Yeah,
This was made 7 years or so before Shawshank. So, but he's basically he's being birthed by the earth, isn't he?
Yeah.
Covered in mud. And then the other brother, William Forsythe. It's good to see William Forsythe in this because he's usually quite a hard case in gangster films and stuff like that, and dramas and police dramas. So it's kind of fun. He's got a much more lighter kind of character in this. And they're both okay, these two. They can't help stirring it. At one point, John Goodman's going, if you don't mind me saying so, it seems like maybe you don't wear the pants in this house and things like that. He says things like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Honestly, these two, I feel like their whole sort of sub-story, their like story in this was just a lost Laurel and Hardy script.
Yeah.
Like
kind of like that.
Just
you know
what?
Like,
they steal and then they've got the baby and then they're like, okay, so yeah, we got the money. Where's the baby? It's like, I thought you had the baby.
They're constantly losing the baby.
Oh, no, they got to go back to the bank, pick up the baby, run off.
And they scream at each other when they do stuff wrong and all sorts. But meanwhile, they turn up at High's house and he has to put them up, because he's like that. She's not happy. She's saying, we're a law-abiding family now. We can't be doing all this. But they're also saying things like,
stolen baby.
Well, there's a thing on the wall saying, welcome home, son. And he says, where's the kid been? He goes, to see his grandparents. He says, would that be yours? They go, they're dead. But he goes, but you said yours were dead. He goes, yeah, we thought it'd be good for them to see their final resting place. They're just trying to wing it and so on and so forth.
Them sort of stumbling their way through lies is great. So they go, oh yeah, what's the baby's name? Ed Jr. Hi, Jr.
Yeah. And he goes, Ed's what? No, it's Edward. We like calling him Junior and all this. Anyway, they kind of say, look, we got decent people coming over. Can you guys make yourselves scarce? And they say, sure, we could do that. They're fairly easygoing.
Yeah.
And then he's foreman who's always telling weird jokes about
Polish jokes.
And Hyde doesn't understand any of them.
Yeah, he just kind of like lets it roll past. It's like, sure.
And his wife Dot, who is Frances McDormand, turn up with all their horrible kids.
These kids are vile.
They're kids from hell, right? I mean, oh God, they are off. They're constantly. At one point, it goes, "Could the kids get off my car?" And like you see, these kids just sort of smashing up the car.
Smashing, they're like just sawing stuff into it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
They keep just running around, smashing stuff in the house.
And he says, "Dot wants another one because She says they're getting too big to cuddle, so she wants another one now and all this. Oh, there is a whole scene or a few scenes where they're trying to adopt. Because of
his crime history.
No way. It's just not happening. So they have to. That's why they steal the baby in the end. And then they start offering parenting advice. And then basically, his foreman, Glenn, right, suggests swinging. At which point Nicolas Cage shows his real temper. Just punches him straight out.
Clocks him. And when he shows up later, he's got like 2 black eyes, a neck brace. And all sorts. It messes him up. So,
which means he loses his job and then he has to try and figure out how
but he steals
diapers. And he's the worst thief. Everything goes wrong.
Pulls some niggers over his head and just walks up with the diapers and goes, I think I'll be taking the contents of your tail as well. And just looking. And Holly Hunter's character just looks in and just starts she just starts calling him bastard.
Yeah.
Like, she's going like, you son of a bitch, while just walking round the car. Gets in the driver's seat and just takes off. And then, then the like clerk pulls out a gun, and then the police rock up, and they just end up like dead sprinting through the night.
He can't get in the escape car at one point, and he just has to run away with his Huggies, and he just can't get even a packet of Huggies. So he realized, and basically Ed is kind of broken-hearted about all this. He says, "I can't imagine you out of my, us having a life together and all this business." And then they, so anyway, Ed and they, High writes a note, as they say, he's going to go and do something else. Basically, Gal and Evel have like said, we got this bank job plan. There's going to be all of the hayseeds farm grants coming in at the end of the month, so there'll be loads of money in the bank. And in fact, the bank robbery again is the worst bank. You know, they go in and says, "Freeze! Hit the floor," and they all just stand there. And this old farmer's like, "We can't, we can't hit the floor if we're gonna freeze. And if we hit the floor, we won't be freezing. What do you want us to do, Sonny?" It's all this kind of stuff. He says, "Hit the floor." Because that old guy threw me off my game and all this kind of stuff.
Then we get basically everyone figures out that the kid's stolen, and there's a high bounty.
Glenn comes back and sort of saying, "Yeah, you're fired, and the kid, you give the kid to us, otherwise we're turning you in." But he's shouting it out of his head, and Gale and Evel hear this.
Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, we got to do it," and they take part in. Is it a second bank robbery?
Yeah.
Or is it no?
They take the baby. They take the baby, right? They take the baby. This is where Ed really gets annoyed, right? Yeah. And she says, "We're just going to rescue the baby. We're going to get him back, make sure he's safe, but I can't see her life." She says, "I don't want to go on without the baby." And then she says, "I don't think I want to go on with you." So, it looks like it's the end of their marriage. Meanwhile, Smalls, the biker from hell, he erupts out of the desert, and there's explosions going on behind him, and all sorts.
Yeah.
And basically, he hand grenades a little bunny, he shoots a lizard off a rock. He's just doing all this.
Yeah, it's just real bastard stuff.
And
while Gale and Evel lose the kid at one point, Smalls finds him.
Yeah. Smalls also sort of goes and sees the father.
Who's
this salesman we haven't mentioned? Yeah. He sells unpainted furniture. Yeah, Nathan, Arizona. Yeah. A big, he sells unpainted furniture. He's made a fortune doing that, right?
Yeah.
And Smalls goes and visits him and says, "Well, I've got a reward for 25,000. You'll get the reward if the baby," and then he starts saying, "I think you've taken him, Smalls. I think that's what this is." And Smalls says, "No, I hunt people. That's what I do. And this time I can hunt a baby, but I want 50 grand. And if you don't want to pay it, I bet I can sell it on the black market more than 25, which is horrible."
Yeah.
That
is dark.
Meanwhile, Gale and Evil actually get attached to the kid. Everyone gets attached to this kid.
Yeah, everyone loves this kid.
Who looks way older than a baby, it has to be said.
Yeah, they look like they're about
toddlers.
They're starting to walk.
2, 3, something like that.
I don't know benchmarks.
Yeah, and they basically they really attach to the kid. They go on about how they're never going to leave him, and then they keep leaving him behind.
Yeah, they keep forgetting him behind, and this is where Smalls picks him up.
Yeah, but they managed to do a bank robbery and get away. But in the mean, as they're getting away, and they realise the kid's
paint grenade goes off.
Paint grenade goes off, and they're covered in blue paint.
They just sort of sit there screaming. And that's kind of the last we see of them till the end of the film, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But then there's a kind of a cool fight between Nick Cage and Leonard Smalls.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
I did like Holly Hunter kind of angrily striding up to him as he's got this baby just mounted on the front of it and just taking the baby, just walking off.
Yeah.
So,
and then during the fight, he accidentally he smashes at Smalls' clothes, and it reveals the woodpecker tattoo.
Yeah.
But that has no bearing on the film, right?
It doesn't.
So it's like, are they going to be brothers?
And then as he drops him, and as he looks up, Cage is holding a grenade pin, and Smalls just looks down and blows up pretty much.
Yeah.
So
that finishes him.
So
they decide they're going to take the baby back because of all this, and they're putting it back in the cot when Nathan Arizona finds them.
Yeah,
and he sees how kind and sweet they are to the little kid, so he says, "Hell, no one's got to call the authorities here."
Yeah.
And then High mentions that they're probably going to get divorced.
Yeah, he tells them to sleep on it.
Sleep on it.
And then we get a bunch of dreams or flash forward, so it's sort of where are they nows?
Yeah. We see, I don't know if this is a dream or not, but we do see Garrett and Evel going back to their hole in the ground.
That they climbed out of.
They're giving up the life, right?
They're just giving up on the outside world.
We see
we see the boss. to try to tell his Polish jokes to a Polish police officer
called Kowalski, which is maybe a reference to Streetcar Named Desire, because Marlon Brando's character in that is called Kowalski, but maybe not. Also, he dreams about Nathan growing up and becoming a football ace.
Yeah.
After receiving a gift football from some kindly couple, presumably Ed and I, right?
Yeah. And then we got like a flash forward of Ed and Hi, like in the future. They've got a huge family.
Yeah. So. And he dreams about them growing old together, basically, with a huge family and grandkids and all sorts. He says, we're going to raise a good family, maybe not in Arizona, maybe Utah. And then the film ends. And that's it.
It just kind of stops.
Yeah. Really quite enjoyable film. A silly film, but...
fun. All the different plot lines were pretty fun. Like, we had our main sort of divorce argument going on. We had our Laurel and Hardy sequences, as well as the ticking clock of the devil biker coming after them.
Oh, hold on. I found a note here about his name. You know, I said I'm sure Leonard Smalls comes from something else. It comes from Mice of Men. The character of Lenny is actually called Lenny Small, right?
Okay.
So maybe it's kind of that. And weirdly enough, the Gal and Evel kind of feel like Steinbeck characters in that they're good-natured, but they're just hard times, or they've turned to crime. So it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. Apparently, the guy playing Leonard Smalls was real trouble because he was. They describe him as not so much an actor as a force of nature.
Yeah, I think he was a boxer or something like that,
or a wrestler or something. Yeah,
martial artist, professional heavyweight boxer.
Okay.
Considered to possess one of the greatest boxing chins of all time. Yeah, he's going to have an attitude.
Yeah. So this is kind of an interesting one. Apparently, they got quite a good budget for this, and they described this as one of the last film they made with a big budget. So, considering they've made Big Lebowski, and it's quite amazing that this had the bigger budget. So, a fun film. I'm quite pleased I picked this because I haven't seen this since the 90s.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite how I remembered it, but it was close, and I quite liked the music, and it was kind of... So interesting, there's a few quotes about this. Simon Pegg described this film as a living, breathing Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Edgar Wright stated Raising Arizona is his favourite film of all time. How about
that? Yeah.
It's well thought of. It's well thought of film, but it's a really odd film, and it's kind of left field, doesn't it? Because you don't know quite what to expect all through the film. But it's got a very strong energy, and the great thing about it is everyone's kind of nice.
Yeah, everyone's Smalls, very well-meaning except Smalls.
So it makes you feel good to watch, really.
Yeah.
I always like a bit of yodeling, and there's plenty of yodeling throughout. And like I say, the best bit. Yeah, I really like Ode to Joy, the bluegrass version of Ode to Joy. It made me laugh a lot. I think I might get that as a ringtone.
Yeah, apparently that's taken from the Goofing Off suite.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
I'm just reading from the soundtrack. It's like things borrowed from the Goofing Off suite from 1955, which has, I guess, weird versions of classic music, such as Symphony No. 9. So,
right. Okay. It's got an interesting directing style too. They've got some talent, these guys, for sure. And if you see, Big Lebowski's more about the script really, but True Grit's pretty cinematic. Fargo's pretty cinematic. No Country for Old Men is electric. If you've never seen it, Javier Bardem gives amazing performance in that film. Really scary dude. But it's a
from what I've heard, that's like the film, the Javier Bardem film.
It's
one film for him. So
yeah, he's really good at it. It's a charming film, is how I put it. It kind of the British equivalent would be something like Gregory's Girl, maybe something like that. Just a charming, sweet girl. Okay, they're films that are good natured, ultimately totally good natured. And everyone's reasonably nice people and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to rating. What would you give this?
I'd give this a high 7 or an 8.
Yeah, I think it's a 7. I don't think it's a great film. I think it's fun, and I quite enjoyed watching it again. I will watch it again sometime. Certainly less of a gap than last time, but it's a fairly lightweight film, I think.
Okay.
But I quite liked it, and I can't recall a performance that Nicolas Cage gives in any other film that's like this one.
Yeah, it's a really subdued performance in comparison to the rest of it,
and he just looks confused all the time.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny, and I'm amazed. I could see someone doing something like this and getting properly stereotyped with that kind of character, but Cage didn't. Cage didn't, thankfully. He managed to move past that. In many ways, it's almost like a very light version of his character in the much darker David Lynch film Wild at Heart. This will be a weird, interesting pairing with Wild at Heart, where he's a couple with Laura Dern, are going through the Midwest, in a desert setting, and things like that. So yeah, this would be cool. Right, okay, let's wind out there. So that's the Daisy. So next time it'd be your pick. So you've got Cage.
Yeah, I had a few I had a sort of root through, and I think I know what I'm going to do. I was like, oh, what have the others been in? I don't want to lock out Nick Cage.
Yeah,
this early on in us doing this. So I was like, what's this bit I've been in? What's William Forsythe been in? I was like, okay. Oh, it was in The Rock, and I was like, oh yeah, wait, that's another Nick Cage film.
It is. That's weird. Yes, they are both in it. There was one character who's only in this briefly, one of the cops, that I thought was a character that we'd actually seen in a previous film. And I can't remember the actor's name, but he was the barman in Quick and the Dead, which is a Sam Raimi film, and he was the Maximum Overdrive, the guy that ran the place. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
I think you connected. It was your connection. Or, no, maybe it was mine. I thought I recognised him, but he's not on the cast list. I think he's just an actor who looks like him.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of got that sort of every old guy face.
Yeah, yeah. His name's... I can't remember his name. I'm just looking out. But he's got an old guy name as well, if I remember.
Yeah.
Pat Hingle. Pat Hingle is the actor. I thought I recognised him, but he's not on the cast list, so it must have been a guy that looked like him. So yeah. All right, let's wind it up there. So interesting film. So okay, so bye from me.
Bye.